Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Parastoo with us, Parastoo Emami, and she is coming to us from Tiburon, but her background is in Italy. So we're all going to move to Italy today. Parastoo, it's great to have you. If you wouldn't mind just giving us a little history of how you got from Cisco to talking about sensitive people, that would be great.
Absolutely. So hi everyone, my name is Parastoo Emami. Yes, I was in the tech world for over 25 years, worked at the most amazing companies, starting out with Sun Microsystems and then ending up with Cisco, Mobi TV, and the last one was Dolby Laboratories. And so I was at Dolby Laboratories, and unfortunately, I became very ill. And after I came back from my leave of absence from being sick for 6 months, I was let go. And during the time that I worked at Dolby, I did a lot of volunteer work working with highly sensitive people because highly sensitive people are extremely creative people. So companies like Dolby Laboratories attracts a lot of highly sensitive people. So I was working as a volunteer with them, helping them just, deal with everyday life, how to understand their sensitivity, how to thrive with their sensitivity instead of seeing it as a weakness. How can they see it as a strength and potentially even their superpowers? So when I got let go, all these people that I was working with said, "Oh my God, please don't go back into the tech world. Please do this for a living. This is what you were born to do. This is your calling. Please don't give up on this mission that you have." So I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. I'll think about it. And I did think about it for a long time, and I decided, you know what? They're right. This is my sole purpose in life, and so I started working, but I wanted to work with children, not directly with children, but with parents of children who are highly sensitive, because I thought I could have the most impact. Given that if they're under the age of 10, they're in their formative years, and hopefully they still have a chance to be parented in a way that sets them up for success in life. And so I started doing that. I started doing a podcast because I didn't know, how do I get clients? I didn't know how to attract clients because I've never been on my own. I've never had a business of my own. So I started a podcast called The Road to Success for Your Highly Sensitive Child. And through that podcast, I started teaching parents on what high sensitivity is all about. How can they tell if their child is highly sensitive? And then just started giving, advice on how to parent their highly sensitive child. And then I started just organically, people came to me through referral and word of mouth. So I started coaching parents of highly sensitive children for about over a year. And then different people started coming to me, like people who were in a relationship with a highly sensitive partner, who didn't really understand their partner and just were really frustrated in the relationship, despite the fact that they had been there with their partner for 15 plus years, for example. And so people like that started coming to me, and I thought, okay, sure, I can help with that. And then other people came about, okay, you transitioned from high tech to having your own business. I want to do the same. How do I do that? So then I started coaching people on doing more of a career coaching, but still focused on high sensitivity. So I was always working with highly sensitive people. And so now my business has four aspects. So there's the life coaching, career coaching, relationship coaching, and parent coaching.
Wow. So, okay, let's take a step back for a minute and just try and understand how do you decide if somebody is highly sensitive? If a parent comes to you, if a relationship comes to you, how do you decide if
Yeah.
that person fits this category?
Yeah, there's a test that Dr. Elaine Aron has created, and I basically conduct that test with the client during their complimentary session with me, and based on the test results, we can determine whether they're highly sensitive or not. And but in general, just very quickly, highly sensitive people have to have four components to be considered highly sensitive. So the first component is having depth of processing. That means that they see things from many, many different angles and can process information very deeply. And it's also people who have a systems thinking, where they can really look at things from many, many different aspects and then decipher, like gather all the information and make a decision based on all this information that they've gathered. But they can take a lot of information and really pick out all the things that are really important with all the data that they have. And that's how they make decisions, or that's how they process information. It's a very, very deep level of processing. So that's the first component. The second component is getting overstimulated. And the reason they get overstimulated is because they have a finely tuned nervous system. And because from the moment they wake up, they start processing information until they go to bed. So it's a consistent thing that they do day in and day out. And it's not just information that they're processing from their external world, but they're also kind of processing information internally in their system as well. So that's why they can become overstimulated if they don't know how to regulate their nervous system. And that's actually something that I specialize in, is helping people regulate their nervous system. The third aspect is that they have a very high level of empathy. So a lot of people might have empathy, but highly sensitive people have a very high level of empathy. And also remember, they have to have all four components to be considered highly sensitive. And then the fourth component is being sensitive to external stimuli. It could be scratchy clothing, loud sounds, weird textures, weird tastes. Like it could be any of your five senses, or it could be all of them, but you only need one sense to be sensitive to qualify for this category. And then again, all four of these aspects need to be there for you to be considered highly sensitive. And 20% of the global population are highly sensitive.
Oh, 20%. Wow, that's a large population.
Yeah, it's 1 out of 5
So
people.
how do you, 1 out of 5 people. So how do you decide what's the difference between, say, being on the spectrum, dyslexic or autistic versus being highly sensitive, or are
Yeah,
there overlaps in this
yeah.
category?
That's a really excellent question. And often people confuse high sensitivity with being on the spectrum or having ADHD, and that's not the case. Being highly sensitive, it's a personality trait. It is not a disorder. It's not a mental disorder, emotional thing, none of that. It's not a medical condition whatsoever. However, we do have one thing in common. We are neurodivergent. So our brains are actually different than a atypical person. So that is something that we have in common. But otherwise, the other things that you mentioned are a medical condition, whereas high sensitivity is a personality trait, and it's something that is genetic and you're born with it. And there's nothing you can do to change it. You can help yourself, like for example, with the overstimulation, you can definitely not get overstimulated if you know how to regulate your nervous system. But you cannot get rid of being highly sensitive because it's something that you're born with, and it's not something that you can decide overnight or in a few weeks to get rid of.
So are there certain people that overlap in these categories that are highly sensitive, but also on the spectrum?
There could be an overlap that they could be highly sensitive, and on top, they could have something else, especially if they, for example, if you're a highly sensitive person and your parents didn't know how to parent you properly, and as a result, you can get various personality disorders. So it is possible that on top of being highly sensitive, you can have a personality disorder, but it's not as a result of being highly sensitive. High sensitivity doesn't have an impact on getting other illnesses or having a mental illness, or having a mental illness as a result of trauma from your childhood. Those are two separate things. They're not. There's no cause and effect there.
So this is a personality trait. This is nothing to do with mental illness or other disorders that may have some medical condition associated with them. This is purely personality, and so from a younger age, does this test, how early can you test someone to find out if they have this particular sensitivity, high sensitivity?
You can test as early as you like. Even some people even know as a mother they can, because the parent is the one who's answering the questions for the child.
Ah,
And so you can find out as early as even when the baby is in your womb. Actually, they show signs of high
oh wow.
sensitivity even when they're in the womb. So I have clients who tell me, "Oh my God, now that I know my child is highly sensitive, it makes sense that when they were in the womb, they did X, Y, and Z." So they could even, like mothers tell me all the time when they think back about when their child was in the womb, they can tell that, oh my God, they did these things that a highly sensitive child would do. For example, if they were in a very loud place and the child was sensitive to loud sounds, the baby would kick, and they would kick and kick and kick until the mom would go somewhere that's quiet.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's
That is a
very
very
fascinating.
interesting example.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go to the what can we do? Obviously you can coach people through this, but what are some of the factors that you can do to try and help your nervous system work with this particular condition?
Yeah, that's the best thing that you could do for yourself is manage your nervous system, because as a highly sensitive person, you're born with a very finely tuned nervous system, and getting overstimulated is a common thing for highly sensitive people. This is, you see a child, for example, the way you know that a child is overstimulated is if all of a sudden, they could be having a great time at the park, and then you're done, you're taking them home, and they just have a meltdown in the car. They start crying and they won't stop. That's a sign that their nervous system has been overstimulated. Even if they were having fun, it has nothing to do with being stressed or having a joyful experience. Both can cause overstimulation in a highly sensitive child or a highly sensitive person. So the first thing that I teach my clients is you learn what somatic practice works for your child. And there are many, many different types of somatic practices. For example, a somatic practice is humming, can be one. A humming with two songs in a row. So about 5 minutes of humming can regulate your nervous system. Even as an adult, everything that I talk about applies both for a child and an adult when it comes to nervous system regulation. So singing, humming, for example, if a child is in the classroom and they feel that, okay, I know I can see that I'm going to get overstimulated, they can excuse themselves, they can go to the bathroom and do either the humming or the singing. If neither one of these are something that your child is comfortable doing, they can use cold water on their face. That helps a lot with bringing their nervous system to a regulated state. Or they could do there are some techniques where you massage your face, and those also have the same effect as singing or humming would have. There are many, many types of somatic practices. My very favorite one, which I do every single day, is shaking my body. I know it sounds really weird. And when I first heard about it, I thought, okay, this person is insane. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Then I thought, okay, why not? I'm going to try it and see what happens. And it really worked. So now what I do is I have a vibration plate, and a lot of people think vibration plates are for losing weight. I use it on a daily basis. I don't lose weight on it. I don't know why people think that it's something that you could use to lose
Yeah,
weight.
right.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I haven't lost a pound, but it is a very effective way to regulate your nervous system on a daily basis. And the important part of somatic practice and nervous system regulation is that you've got to do it as part of your daily routine. It's kind of like brushing your teeth. If you don't brush your teeth on a daily basis, you're going to get cavities, potentially. Most people will. But so the same thing is the case for nervous system regulation, is something that you got to practice on a daily basis. And I recommend 10 minutes, but if you can't do 10 minutes, minimum should be 5 minutes. And you can break that down. If you can't do 5 minutes straight, then you can do 2.5 minutes, for example, in the morning, 2.5 minutes at night. But the more you can, like 5 minutes straight is actually better, has a better effect than if you break it up into 2.5 minutes.
So you do this when you first wake up in the morning? When do you do this?
Yeah, so you have to honor your body and listen to what your body wants. So I'm not a morning person. So if I ask my body to get on the vibration plate and get like shake for 10 minutes, it will not be happy because I'm not a morning person. So what I do is I usually do my routine in the middle of the day. I do it once in the middle of the day during like my lunch break, and then I do it once in the evening. If I feel like I've had a really hard day for whatever reason, that my nervous system is not as regulated as I would like it to be, then I will do it before I go to bed because it helps me sleep as well. When your nervous system is regulated, you have a better night's sleep as well.
Wow. I use this word, I don't know if a song or anyway, maybe you heard of it before. It's chanting the word HU, like Hugh.
Mhm.
Anyway, that works for me. So
Yeah, that's
you
a
might
really
give that a
good.
try.
Oh, absolutely. That will work because that's like humming, right? It's very similar to
Yeah,
humming.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The sound
Yeah,
vibration
you could
with
hum.
that, yeah, it's really amazing.
I never tried humming it. Let's see. Yeah, it would be like humming, huh? Yeah, anyway, that's very interesting. I'll try that. So, well, speaking of sensitive people, I have to go pick up our two grandchildren. And
Nice.
now that I know about this particular item, I'm going to look into it. I guess I have so many more questions. We're going to have to do this again sometime very soon.
Oh, for
So
sure.
I
I'll
would
be
love to know more about this.
absolutely.
So where would people get a hold of you, Paris, too?
I think my website would be the best way. That's where my calendar is as well. So you can book a complimentary session with me. Right now, I'm still working on updating my website since I'm pivoting my coaching business a little bit. But at the moment, it's parentinghsc.com.
HSC for highly sensitive people, or HS highly sensitive coaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually
Well,
for
that's
highly sensitive children, but yes, you're right. I need to
oh.
I need to update my website
Okay.
because yeah, I've been really busy working on my book that hopefully will be published soon in the next month or two. So I haven't had a chance to update my website, but I will soon. But you could still get a hold of me.
Well, I look forward to it. So we'll talk again very soon because I have many, many more questions. So this it sounds great, but we'll end for now and reconvene very soon, I hope.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.